mic gets to you, just tell us your name and your organization. So we'll proceed.
Good morning, all. My name is Charles Wofu. I'm representing the development measures here in Africa.
Welcome, sir.
Sorry for the left hand. My name is Sean John. I'm representing Kadara TV. Kadara is online on YouTube. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Hello, good day, all. Good morning. My name is Ugochi Freeman from Anambra State, representing Creative Mind Development Initiative.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zainab Yahya from Dubai, Nigeria.
Welcome, madam.
Good morning, all. My name is Ida James from Yola, from Association Against Child Sexual and Gender-Based Violence.
Good morning, all. My name is Jennifer Adula. I'm representing National Lottery Regulatory Commission.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ifunaya Manipo. I'm representing Virtual Women for Women Foundation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Akiko Yaseki. I'm a bureau chief of Tribe Newspaper.
Welcome, sir.
Good morning, all. My name is Chidi Eberechi. I work for CLO Civil Liberties Organization.
Welcome, sir.
I am the younger General Secretary of the Foundation Nigeria.
Welcome, sir.
My name is President Agbohan, FY Council.
Welcome, sir.
Ichibor Gowon is the name. I work with the Office of the Honorable General Minister of Justice.
Welcome, Desk Officer General.
Good morning, all. Hello, Access by name from Hotline Center for Development in the state. Thank you.
Welcome, my brother. Thank you very much. When the newcomers come, they will announce their witness. By the way, this meeting, the target of this meeting is just to have about 20 organizations in the room. Like I said, it's not a capacity building per se. We invited a small number, so we just take forward some of the things we discussed earlier. We review to agree on what our roles should be towards ensuring that the proactive disclosure protocol that we have validated is effectively deployed in MDAs, and of course to ensure that MDAs comply with Section 2 of the FOI Act. At this point, we will quickly take some remarks from the Rule of Law and Corruption Program. Mr. Emmanuel Uche, who was here with us a few minutes ago, please, he needs to come forward to talk to us before we proceed. Could you please come up to us?
Sorry, please.
Please join me in welcoming Mr. Emmanuel Uche, the Anti-Corruption Program Manager of the Rule of Law and Corruption Program. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to each and every one of us. Let me start by recognizing my brother who is representing the Attorney General on anything that has to do with the freedom of information in Nigeria, who is also the head of the units. My brother Gowon Ichibor. Good morning. God bless you for the proactiveness and for the time that you're putting to ensure that the Freedom of Information Act is optimized for the benefit of the country. And once again, I want to bring each and every one of us compliments of the leadership of the European Union delegation to Nigeria, as well as the British Council implementing the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program in the country. thank you for finding time to join this meeting this morning. And as I was coming in this morning, one thing that was crossing my mind is, yes, we are interested in ensuring that we have, since we have the Freedom of Information Law, and now the ministry has graciously worked to put in place a proactive disclosure principle to ensure that not just themselves, but also that every other agency of government that has a mandate to implement this law proactively, without necessarily being nudged, do what is right. And I did say at one of our meetings last week that a society is only organized when and only when each and every member of that society, whether institutional members or individual members, know what is expected of them and do it proactively without necessarily being nudged or hounded by another agency. It becomes an aberration when someone takes up a mandate to oversee the implementation of something, and you admit that this is a statutory responsibility you need to be alive to, and yet you're waiting for somebody to come nudge you to do your job. However, that is the way most of life seems to be structured. That the only things that appear to happen naturally, without any effort, are negative things. Positive things hardly happen on their own. That means if you want something positive to happen, then you need to consciously work to make it happen. If you allow things to go on a que sera basis, then I tell you the truth. Que sera only brings failure. It only brings negativity. Therefore, yes, the Ministry of Justice has taken the proactive step under the able leadership of Gowon Ichibor, looking over the FOI, to put in place a proactive disclosure principle. But that principle itself is still not enough. There is still the need of the civil society and the media, being the conscience of society, to continually find a way of putting principles and other things in place to ensure that we continually remind ourselves of the responsibility that we have committed to. And the responsibility is one that is very simple, that you will put public information in the public space. Even without the FOI Act, you know many of us know how to obey laws only in defiance. I remember sometime in this country, a governor once said, "You said you came to my house and you found big money in my house, millions of cash. Then Nigeria had not yet gotten even into billions." And he said, "What is your problem? Government money in government house. Is that a problem? Is there a problem there? Government money in government house." The same principle, we want you to extend it now. Government information in government portal. Put it there. Public information, put it in the public portal. Don't let's wait to start pursuing you, to start begging you with FOI Act, invoking it for you to give it to us. That's the whole essence of the proactive disclosure. But you and me know, just like the FOI law that was passed, that has not made much difference in terms of the level of compliance. Even the proactive disclosure itself would still need that somebody, somewhere, goes to court or holds the feet of the MDAs to fire to make sure that we comply, because even the proactive disclosure principle itself will be flouted. I once read an analysis by Oji, who was writing on the Nigerian ethical revolution, and that was in the days when corruption was still filtering, and the Nigerian police was said to be just doing rent seeking on the roads. And the Shagari administration set up this X-squad that was meant to go and do spot checks of Nigerian policemen right on duty. And for those of you who might remember, the X-squad was given the mandate to arrest any policeman then who had more than 50 naira in his pocket. That no policeman must be found with more than 50 naira as an end in their pockets. So they set up this X-squad. And then this editorial piece in the Guardian then came and said, now, because the Nigerian police is failing, the X-squad has been set up to watch over the Nigerian police. But since the X-squad is also made up of Nigerians, who then watches over the X-squad? A Y squad? And that was quite instructive for me. Meaning that the police is not corrupt because they are policemen, but because they are fundamentally Nigerian. And that was the point being made. Meaning, so if you get other Nigerians to go into it, what is the assurance that it will make a difference? That we put an FOI law in place and people are not complying? What is the assurance that if we put a proactive disclosure principle in place, that people will still follow it? So it still comes back to the same thing, that we're just trying our best to tighten the nose on the neck of those who should make this country work. And they have to make it work because some of us have no alternatives. And because we don't have an alternative, we will not go back on our oars because governance is too serious a business to be left in the hands of politicians alone. And that is the reason for this workshop. It may look like an overlayering that is a little much, but trust me, it is still important. And I am a bit not too happy that I was expecting that this place would have been filled with the people here, because this is only a macrocosm of those that need to go out with a message and dispel the message and cascade it to their different constituencies to ensure that the message goes out, that a lot still needs to be done before we call it Uhuru. But for those of us here in the room, I want to say a very big thank you. It basically shows clear-cut commitment to moving this country forward. And your commitment, your sacrifice, your labors of love will not go in vain. Posterity will justify you as having done your part when you needed to. On this note, I want to once again say thank you and wish us a fruitful deliberation. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, may we give a round of applause. We'll clap for him. At this point, may I please invite the representative of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, and of course the head of the Freedom of Information Unit of the Federal Ministry of Justice, Mr. Gowon Ichibor. So please appreciate him as he comes.
Good morning, all. I want to thank you for having me, Mr. Dr. It's a privilege to be with you this morning. It's a privilege to also see the faces we saw some 3 weeks back. And it's a big pleasure on my part to have the privilege of having to interact or interface with non-state actors. Because basically it makes the job easier. I always mention the fact that going by the provisions of the FOIA Act, the Honorable Attorney General Minister of Justice is only compelled to ensure that public institutions comply with the provisions of the Act. It is the duty of every one of us here present today to ensure that the MDAs comply. What we do at the level of the ministry is to ensure that the MDAs are ready as a supply line. When you come knocking, the door will be open. But it becomes a problem when I prepare myself and nothing is forthcoming. And the few that come, there's always no follow-up. Like I said, I'm grateful I'm here. I pray that the 6 hours we're going to spend together is going to be resourceful. And at the end of the have something to take home. Once more, for those of us that have had time and privilege to have read the law, the Honorable Attorney General Ministry of Justice is the oversight on the Implementation of the Freedom of Information Act, portions to its powers. We, through his office, were able to develop the first set of guidelines for the effective implementation of the Act sometime in 2012, precisely 7 months after the law was enacted. We had a revised version of the guidelines some 3 years later, precisely July 13th, 2014. We're grateful to rule out that we have the privilege of having not just the whole guideline done, but we're bringing an aspect of the law, proactive disclosure, which to me is the bedrock of the implementation of the law itself. Because in truth, if there's proactive disclosure, there won't be any need for request. You will discover in reality, in terms of implementation, MDAs that proactively disclose, you don't have to go requesting. I always want to make a reference in the last 2 years to NCDC. In the last 12 months, NCDC have not received one FOIA request because on a daily basis, they proactively activate inform Nigerians of information about them. If your proactive disclosure provisions were carried out, there won't be the bulk of request. Like I said, I want to thank RULAC for what they are doing, carrying the fight to all the world to the other side of the divide, to put the MDAs under pressure so that they can't do their job. They are paid to do this job, and we pray that after today, we will have cause to celebrate. Once more, I want to thank you all, and I also beg you all, we need you to drive the FOIA process. I can see, I've actually seen 3-4 faces of some FOIA champions. We celebrate them even when they don't know. They are champions because they drive this cause. If in the course of your trying to implement the law, you have challenge, the Office of the Attorney General is always there for you. We also act as an ombudsman. If you make a request to an MDA, you don't get a response, forget the fact the law says presume response to deny, presume the denial is a denial, right? If you don't get a response in 7 days, it's a denial, right? You can't still write to the Office of the Attorney General who will do the needful, will take the next steps and get to your aid. I want to thank you, and I wish you successful celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Desk Officer General. You've heard that they are not just there to perform oversight functions, but they also serve as an ombudsman, with a view to ensuring that without resorting to litigation, of course litigation would be a last resort, that they would assist in, of course, persuading or compelling public institutions to comply with the provisions of the Act. Having said that, if you will just take the next 1-2 minutes to take housekeeping from Mr. Franklin Okonkwo. Let him tell us 1 or 2 things in housekeeping. Thereafter, we'll go straight to a revision discourse that will be led by Mr. Ichibor on the essence of proactive disclosure and all of that. Immediately after that, we go for our team. Mr. Okonkwo, please. Please, may we appreciate Franklin? May we appreciate the please? Our target is to leave here at 2 p.m. Let's please see how to realize it.
Can you indicate with the hands up? You've read the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act. Hello, I can see just 2 hands. 3. It's always good for us not to presume, because we discover at the end of the day we will not achieve what we pray for. what we know as proactive and what we hope or think that the outcome of this meeting is intended to achieve. Please, can you help me with the mic and let's just feel ourselves. I want everybody's input.
So are we going
Yes,
table by table?
Okay. That's the proactive disclosure is a situation where the contents of the bill is deliberately disclosed by the agencies concerned without being nudged or without having a request to disclose.
Thank you very much.
Just like the person from the Federal Minister of Justice said, being able to do the right thing without being given a rush, being able to get necessary information across what they are supposed to be gotten on the exam without necessarily being waiting for a request to be made.
So since the essence of the F1 Act is to enable the public access to information, I would say that proactive disclosure is basically giving out this information before the public comes in to ask for it. So I'm going to draw a straight line to the example you gave with the NCDC. I think since the COVID outbreak, there's been giving out this information using social media platforms. They've been saying, oh, this social number of persons have been infected, this social number of persons have died from COVID. So that's basically, they don't have to wait for the public to say, oh, how many persons have been infected. They just give out this information proactively.
I think the three speakers have spoken our mind. Are we on the same page? Basically, you can kill. Basically, practice the act list, as we're going to do, I would say, there are 41 classes of information that the act provides that must be proactively disclosed. Like I said, they are captured under 19 subheads, but if you break them into piecemeal, there are 41 in number. The act provides that this classes of information must be proactively disclosed. The whole essence of this gathering is to see how we're able to establish a protocol or a template which, generally speaking, forget the big words, a guide on how MDAs go about achieving this obligation. So I'll be speaking to the issue of proactive disclosure under the Act. Before I will introduction, I said, from our discussions the last time we were here and what the ROLAC president mentioned, the Act provides two ways by which you can access publicly held information. The first means it's provided under Section 3 to the fact that Section 1 establishes the fact that a law has been established via which your right to access government information has been established, introduced. It provides by way of Section 3 that you can, by application, request for government information. That is, you make a formal request to the MDA involved. And by way of Section 4, it provides that the MDA involved is expected to, one of before 7 working days, respond to your request. Recall the last time we said that the law provides for 7 days. But pursuant to the powers conferred on the Honorable Attorney General, using the guideline, we were able to establish the fact that 7 days in the law is 7 working days. You check the law, you see the word 7 days. But in reality, it's 7 working days, excluding public holidays and weekends. It also provides under subsection Section 6 to the effect that a public institution can take advantage of Section 6 to request for an extension of time if such public institution is not able to treat your request under 7 working days. But it has two caveats. It provides that for a public institution to take advantage of Section 6, the requested information must either be bulky or the schedule officer concerned needs to consult with his organ at the top. Are we there? There could be requests that you need to speak to your superior. As such, you are expected to write to the requester to inform the requester of the fact that he or she cannot access this information in 7 days. You need an extra 7 working days. The second leg, as provided under the law, is that government information can be accessed through the proactive means. That is, the law imposes obligations on MDAs to proactively disclose the 41 classes of information I mentioned earlier that we'll see as we go on. What is proactive disclosure? From the narrative of the 3 speakers that spoke, we all can tell what proactive disclosure is the disclosure without the presentation of a formal request or an application. So, proactive disclosure therefore refers to an environment where information and record on the operations, businesses, and activity of the public institutions are released routinely through a multiplicity of means ranging from public publications and official gazette to publicly accessible notice board, electronic media, and the website of the institution. If you check the law, under the law, the word used is publish. It imposes an obligation on public institutions to publish. I did mention that the first FOIA champion on proactive disclosure was Unilorin as far back as 2014. And what was their mode of proactive disclosure? They used handbills. But the truth is, those handbills were so effective that from any of us that have been to Unilorin in the last 4 years, from the gatehouse, you are given handbills that tells you, directs you where you are going to. When you get to Unilorin, their notices are so precise that you need not ask anybody questions. So those are proactive disclosures. If there's a notice board here telling me this is Faculty of Law, Faculty of Medicine, that's proactive disclosure in display. Because I would have asked somebody, where is Faculty of Law? Or where is Faculty of Medicine? But because I didn't ask, the school had proactively disclosed the direction to Faculty of Law, Faculty of Medicine. Am I mentioning enough? So, but because of the E-word we have now, what we've done is to encourage MDAs to graduate from just publishing to publish on their websites. But again, the website thing has a limitation. If you insist fully on website, I'm not sure my mom in Auchi, you will do her a favor by insisting on proactively disclosing on website. So if at the end of the day, to check that protocol, we went as far as providing under the protocol, if it's possible, use a time prior. It looks elementary, right? Like I said, I'm not sure. My mom uses 3310. If you say proactive disclosure, how is she going to ask? How is she going to see it? I'm sure what will be proactively disclosed to you now using your Android, the time prior will do same with her. If Roland is coming to my village tomorrow, it will be easy to practically tell the villagers through a time carrier than putting it in the news. Are you there? And it's more like not using a time carrier. If you're going to use a time carrier, you're going to use a time carrier that is going to speak in Okwe and from Afana. So if you bring a time carrier who is going to be speaking in 3 major languages, you're not doing anything. I must reiterate that proactive disclosure does not apply to the classes of information and the Act that the Act provides and not for public consumption. we're all aware of the fact that 6 sections of the Act provides for some kinds of information that are not for public consumption. Are we all in the know? I want us to leave here well, please, let's, if there's any part you're not concerned, just let me know. The Act provides 6 classes of records and information that are not for public consumption. So I'm only saying that public disclosure does not apply to this kind of information. It provides that records and information that are injurious to the conduct of the defense of Nigeria or to our external relationship are not disclosable. This you find under Section 11. Anything to do with the defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the person of the Honorable Attorney General, the defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I did mention here, was it on Thursday, to the effect that most of us would have been hearing in the news or probably read in the news where Amnesty always have this challenge of saying we don't comply to requests about our Northeast deployments. We have this traffic of requests requesting to know our military deployment in the Northeast, mostly coming from Amnesty International, requesting to know record of men that are dead, record of deployment, state of deployment, but using the wordings or instrumentality of Section 11, personally, most times I deny, because I think it would be wrong for me to disclose to the world the number of men in Nigeria will be pushing into the Newry in the month of February or in the month of September. I'm virtually telling the world that if the other side of the if Nigerians are pushing in 1,000 soldiers, I'm telling the other side to push in 1,500. So for the defense of Nigeria, we feel that those classes of operations are not disclosable. Section 12 went further to provide that record and information that are subject of a pending investigation are not releasable. These are like to police investigation, our normal office administrative investigation. Within dependency of such transactions, they are not releasable. I did mention on Thursday the issue of the Super Cup. We all know the Super Cup, right? Hello?
Yeah.
We all know that the Super Cup is undergoing investigation. No matter how much you love him now, you can't request anything to do with that process using the FOIA. During the pendency of that transaction. After the investigations are done, you can request to know. I also have to mention the fact that I'm aware of the fact that the records and information on the Okaku of 1992 have been declassified. The implication is that you can access such now. Some 10 years back, it would have been strange for you to request for those classes. Section 14 provides for personal information to the effect that your personal information as a citizen are not disclosable. But it provides under 2 subheads the effect that if you consent to such disclosure, they will be releasable to you. If somebody wants to know my take home, naturally, because I think when we get on, we discover that your salary is not personal information. Someone probably wants to know how many wives Mr. Gowon has. Those are supposed to be personal to me, the number of children I have. Because when I joined service, as part of my terms of engagement, I had to commit certain information to the organization. Nobody would have known about those stage if I didn't join service. They would be personal to me, but when I got there, I voluntarily gave it to them. So it's expected the law provides that the institution to defend or protect this information for me. But if I consent to those class of people given, I will be released. Secondly, it provides that personal information are releasable when such personal information are already in public domain. What do we mean by public domain? When this information are already in public space. I never knew Mr. President was into is it ranching or the people that keep cows? Is that right word? What? Yeah. You know, when he wanted to contest in 2015, he publicly told Nigerians his classes of business, and a man knew he had a cow ranch in Katsina. If somebody requests for such information now, because such information is already public domain, I will just refer you to where it is in the public space. Because it's already in public space. 15 says third-party information in our custodies are not disclosable. What is third-party information basically? Third-party information is those information that contractors bring into the organization. I work with the Ministry of Works. The federal government wants to do a road from Treasure Suit to EYE. Naturally, beggar will be engaged. Sorry, I'm using the word beggar. The implication is that beggar will commit certain information to my custody, right? I'm expected to protect such information for beggar. Again, during the pendency of that transaction, 16 provides for records and information that other privilege enactment, existing enactment protects that they are not disclosable. What are these records and enactments? Basically, 16 is a professional exception. It provides that lawyer-client relationships are not disclosable. What you tell your lawyer now, the act, nobody can use the act to ask for such a request. It also goes further to protect even those of us that are journalists that are here, to the effect that journalists of the Jersey source are not disclosable. You cannot be forced by anybody to disclose the source of information. I don't want to go further than that because I know what the Yola value generated on Thursday. The law says you cannot be forced. Going further to provide that doctor-client relationship information are not actually disclosable. 17 provides for cost materials exemptions, that fact that cost materials are not disclosable. That's actually an absolute exemption, does not provide for public interest test. And lastly, test materials. It says test material in the custody of public institutions are not disclosable. I had to use my little son that wrote JAM last year as a case study to be clear. Elementarily, we know JAM is a public institution, right? You have a son who has bought funds to write JAM. JAM is for Friday was a Wednesday, Friday was called, right? Yesterday was stated for false. You have a child who is writing JAM. He or she comes to you and say, Daddy, you make me understand that through the FOIA, we can access information, all information in the custody of the public institution. You said, yes, my son. He now said, I've written a letter, me and my friends, to JAM register to disclose the questions for tomorrow because JAM is a public institution. The questions in the custody of JAM. Section 19, you will now refer he or she to Section 19 to say, Section 19 says test materials are not disclosable. That's basically a rundown of the exceptions. Why proactive disclosure? Within a democratic government system, proactive disclosure is a mechanism to inform citizens of information that allows them to hold the government accountable, provided information to make these available on a regular basis, taking advantage of the benefit of the technology and the issue we talked about now. I did mention on Tuesday that it's what we know that we can respond to. Can we recall what happened in Benin last week? Hello? Recall what happened in Edo last week?
The protest by suicide.
Not just suicide. Marketing might follow the next day. List of body of Reverend Fathers followed afterwards. What was the reason? Edo State government proactively informed its citizens that there was going to be compulsory vaccination. By force vaccination. Thank you, my brother. What was the implication? Because the citizens were now well informed, they had to hold government responsible. Well, how do they hold the government responsible? They started by moving to government house. Blocked the road, the government could not go in. If they had not proactively disclosed that, it would have been a rumor. You would probably not have gathered that strength. Because some people will not even believe. because you'll be using the national case study, the template, because at the national level, we're made to understand that it's voluntary. Because when they even got to my office, I recall NDBC were in my office for like 1 month. You'll be passing and be asking, who are these people? They'll say, NCDCC, you screw, well done, sir. No, it was so terrible that they would be the one waving you. Okay, we've gotten first jab. I'm not sure anybody got jabbed at all there. So that was the period when you leave your house hoping to go and hoping that you'll be jabbed that morning. You get there, they'll bring one thing that the man that took yesterday, Bob was showing. And the state did not help itself by following up those disinformation that came along with those vaccines were not corrected. And the churches, with due respect, did not also help us. Like I said, many consider proactive disclosure to be the bedrock of the act. Because if this obligation is discharged, you don't have any reason whatsoever to know anybody. You don't have to know Mr. Gowon, the Federal Ministry of Justice, if you go to the website and the things you need about the ministry is there. Because the law imposes an obligation on the Federal Ministry of Justice to have my name on the website. Not for you to do your request through me, but for you to access me in case you need any information. I will there. Why disclosure again, like I said, within within a democratic setting, we need, because it's a democracy government of people by the people and for the people, you need to know what your people are doing there, whether you can justify why you voted them into power. There is also the argument, the third leg on the argument, the fact that proactive disclosure provides for transparency and open government. This is also reinforced with our membership of the OGP. Most of us can recall the fantastically corrupt statement of 2016. Can we also recall what followed it? The aftermath of that statement. It was the aftermath that made us a member state of the Open Government Partnership. And the benefits of the Open Government Partnership are parts of the country we're enjoying here today now. Basically, transparency, accountability, and openness in government transaction, it's in another word called what? Proactive disclosure. Because this event is funded by ROLA, which is not a government institution. If this was done in the state of Florida, when you spend a dime of citizens' money, taxpayers' money in Florida, using the Sunshine Law, their FOIA law is called the Sunshine Law. The law imposes an obligation on you to open all the windows. Even if you have ACs here, all the windows will be open so that everybody passing can see how his tax money is being spent. So we're not expected to lock ourselves under AC now. We're using taxpayers' money now. So we're at least doing training of this nature by their law. What are the benefits of more proactive disclosure? It encourages better information management, improves public authority internal information flow. It also thereby contributes to increased efficiency. Proactive disclosure also reduces the burden on public administration having to process requests for information that may be made under the Access to Information Law. Like I said, in the last 12 months, this year's report, NCDC had 0. The only thing NCDC reported to us was the 2 trainings they did. There was no request for information because what were you going to request for? What you want to know is already there in public domain. Consideration of the benefits, proactive disclosure of good information in the community faster and at a lower cost. If we choose to give individuals information one after the other, do you know how costly it will be? As against proactively putting this information in public space. It reduces the time and resources spent in processing individual requests, because everything you are doing proactively is general response. It makes information available to everybody as against one single person. It also, like I said, reduces the cost of filing and the inconveniences of filing requests for information. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Martins Nilo, if we are champion, but I guess if we give him mic to tell us the cost implication of running a FOIA litigation, you know how difficult it is. We have a law which was basically borrowed from the UK, but unfortunately, while the UK law provides for an intermediary between before litigation, our law graduates you from request to litigation straight. And in a country that is acclaimed to be the poverty capital of the world, a man who has not eaten, all his rights becomes privilege. I heard that this officer that came was telling me, Oga, we used to acknowledge. And I said, under the law, there's no provision for acknowledgement. He said, Oga, why are you talking like this now? When we acknowledge, they are even very happy, grateful. He's doing the wrong thing, but because Nigerians are not able to enforce their rights to him because they come thanking him, he's doing the right thing. Our law does not provide for you acknowledging a request letter. The time you waste acknowledging the law is advised that you take your time, wait for 7 days if you need the 7 days to respond. So the implication is, if you even practically disclose it, to save you time of this response that you're going to be doing pursuant to a request. Your proactive disclosure demonstrates the agency's commitment to openness, accountability, and transparency, which in turn naturally increases the public confidence in them. Most of us who live here now, even if what NCDC posts are bundle of lies, because they do this thing often, we will tend to believe it. I used to ask myself over the years, growing up, Coca-Cola don't tell now, why are they still doing adverts? But the thing is, they want us to keep hearing. There's a way somebody will tell you lies over and over again. You yourself will start doubting the lies. So it's true now, because there's some adverts you will see, you're wondering, what are these people spending money for? These people don't pay rich now. What are they still doing adverts? But they want to keep reading that thing for it to now become, start generating confidence in you. So as such, if the government does the same, have information in public space, accepted, those of us that are educated here will go verify this information. But the woman in the village can die for anybody. Say, that person, people, something that they told me. Was it Thursday I was telling somebody back then, those days in Nebiu's area, in the student struggle, when you bring out, if you're going to post information on anything, you deliberately use a red pick and mark on it, do not read. I don't know whether you've seen it before. On our notice board, if you place anything there, nobody will read, they'll just walk past. But if you bring your own uniquely, you put do not read, boldly. Before you leave that place, you see the way students will badge on the news. You now be asking yourself, the one that the read, nobody's going there, is the do not read. What I did here was to link the categories of information that the law provides for recall I did mention the fact that the law provides for 41 classes of information that is expected to proactively disclosed. This is how the law categorizes them. The first category is record and information that have to be described. Are we there?
Yeah.
This we find under section 2(3)(a) and C. It basically covers record and information about what the organization does, its responsibilities, organogram, and the function of each unit occurring on the organogram. The second category describes those kinds of information that are to be listed. It includes all manuals, guidelines, documents which the institution uses in the discharge of its daily activities. The third category are record and information that have to be fully disclosed in detail. This class includes the name, title, date of employment, salaries of staff of all public institution staff. I guess most of us will be surprised by the issue of salaries there. The law imposes an obligation on public institutions to disclose the salaries of the staffs. It's so unique. It also provides that a public institution should disclose information relating to the income and expenditure of the institution, what comes in, what goes out. Which, Dr. Duru, for your audit. We went further to provide for files containing applications for contracts, permits, grants, licenses, and agreements that you are duty bound to disclose also. Reports, stories, and other publications either undertaken by the institution that you are done on its behalf by other contractors are also to be disclosed. The prescribed methods for disclosure are also I went further to look at them. Under the law, all information and records that institutions are obliged to disclose must be, as provided for, actually itemize this for the good of the class, readily available to the public. It's not enough for you to say you are disclosing. You ask yourself whether what you're disclosing the public can access. I did use my mom in the village as a case study. If you proactively disclose something in the website, you are as good as not disclosing to her. You should ask yourself that your means of doing this disclosure, will it get to your target audience? Are we there? I went further to provide means by which you can do this. You take advantage of whatever means you think can be best for the organization. I need to mention the fact that the failure to proactively disclose under the Act under Section 2(6) attracts a penalty of a fine of 500,000 naira, and the fact that an applicant can compel you to proactively disclose under Section 2(2). I did mention here earlier that sometimes in 2013 we developed the Honorable Attorney General Guideline on the effective implementation of the Act. As part of that guideline, two sections of the guideline were actually dedicated to proactive disclosure too. It's at the level of the guideline you realize we went further to add to the list in the Act to say any record and information that you know has traffic of requests. If there's a class of record and information that in the last 1 month have been requested more than 3 times and is not on that 41 list, you should add it to it. Are we there? If there's a trending issue, because when this act was passed, there was no Ebola. When the act was passed, there was no COVID. Are we there? As such, it's not, those two things were not listed on the proactive disclosure platform. We're saying because there's requests for them over and over again, you should proactively disclose everything about your Ebola mandate and your COVID mandate. Are we on the same page? For that to provide what you hope to achieve, we made provision for the fact that what the whole essence of the practice disclosure is meant to achieve. Since the freedom of information is about getting rid of secrecy in government, the easiest way to accomplish practice disclosure is by organizing your record management. We need to mention the fact that under Section 9, all public institutions, your duty bound to organize your record in such a way that the public can access such. It's not enough we'll be shouting proactive disclosure, but can you practically disclose if you don't follow up the routine that will enable you to practically disclose? Because the implication is that for you to achieve your practical disclosure obligation, you must continuously update your records. If you live here, at the Thursday meeting, we took time to look at one or two websites. We actually look at a particular website where it's a football website. They trended on Friday, where the last time we went there, we saw a man we knew some 7 years back. How many of us knew about Femi Martins? Can you recall when he left international football? 2012. But as of 2 weeks ago, it was still trending on the website of the Football Association in Nigeria as Super Eagles striker. The implication is that there's proactive disclosure, right? Yeah. But it's not updated. So the wrong information is what's in public domain. I went further to look at what the first and possible proactive disclosure are likely to be. I actually choose to use the word of the former president, T-free, instead of corruption. It will limit T-free information about government spending in public space under constant watch, allows you and me to track resources spent, also to know the contracts that were awarded. There was a trending video sometimes 2 months back in Edo State where a young man, after the construction of a road, went about peeling the road with his hands. Did you see that video? Yeah. Are we aware that that contract was awarded is being completed now? Yeah. Just because of that proactive disclosure. Because the guy was shocked that if he could use his hands to be pulling quota, since he was born, he didn't know quota was this good. You just use your hands. The deputy governor was sent that evening to verify, and the contractor was sent back to site. It forces the government to be more accountable and less corrupt. You will discover we've been charging proactive, but in reality, the area where proactive disclosure is most germane in civil services around the procurement element. Because from the list we publish, you will discover proactive disclosure is mostly tied to spending of government funds. Your procurement bids, your contract awards, contract processes, because it provides that all these stages must proactively disclose. Nigerians should know who is getting it, the stages that they follow, and the process that were engaged. When further to provide, I also foster citizens' participation in the decision-making process, because if we know, like I said, Edo State government the week before proactively told everybody in Edo State that there was going to be forceful vaccination of everybody. The people were aware. The people had to respond, and the government now had to take a decision that was people-friendly. It also ensures that good policy makings are